Making the case, Larry Bird. This was highly requested, and I'm finally able to get to it. Y'all ready to lock in? Let's go. All right, so this has been a long time waiting. I've been seeing a lot of people requesting me to see this, and we're about to get straight into it. By the way, please hit that like button. That will help out. It'll get this video jumping so other people can find it and be able to watch it. Let's go.
Basketball is special. The size of the court and the lack of pads or helmets give fans the most intimate experience of a team sport that exists. And because of the different styles that basketball allows for, players develop their own distinct identities and signature styles through their creativity, flair,
That's
and
art.
athleticism.
Straight art.
And although no player succeeds alone, the scoring volume and two-way nature of the sport give individual stars a nearly unprecedented amount of control over the flow and outcome of a game. For this reason, players are constantly compared to their peers and to the legends of the past in order to answer the most hotly contested question in the sport: who's the greatest to ever do it? For many, the question is redundant. They believe in only one right answer: their answer. Others might have their own personal stance, but acknowledge one or two alternatives. But I believe that there's much more nuance to the question of greatness and more answers to it than you might think. By my count, there are 8 players in NBA history that have a substantial claim as the GOAT. It's a subjective thing though. I can't give you a definitive answer. All I can do is make the argument.
You're right. That's it. I mean, it's very subjective based on how biased you are with your team and such and such. But one thing we can't denounce is the stats and what the player does and the impact the player does. And again, still, it's going to be subjective to each person.
So today, I'll be making the case for Larry Bird as the greatest basketball player of all time.
Let's go. Let's get it. Let's go.
When it comes to basketball, Larry Bird is the smartest, clutchest player to ever play the game. Now, if you don't think that Larry Bird is the greatest basketball player of all time, you probably hate that I just said that. Those are the kind of talking head sport cliches that surely impact the game, but are impossible to empirically measure. Normally, I'd agree with you, but I think that when you talk about Larry Bird, you see those intangibles become real, palpable results. I wouldn't have said it if I didn't believe it. When Larry Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, the NBA needed saving. Attendance was in the toilet, the league had few marketable stars, cocaine addiction had several players in its grasp, and most damning of all, playoff games were being tape delayed.
All right, rewind that back.
When Larry Bird was drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1978, the NBA needed saving. Attendance was in the toilet, the league had few marketable stars, cocaine addiction had several players in its grasp, and most damning of all, playoff games were being tape delayed.
Okay, so he had a lot of accurate information in here. The one thing he left out, which is he's making a case for Larry Bird, so all respect. But you can't leave out Magic too, because they both was in the same year of entering into the NBA, and they both of the stories of them is what helped save the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't mention Bird without Magic, because their story and rivalry, even through the college NCAA to where they at now, as far as the NBA of what they left behind, is what helped save the NBA. So I had to correct that. Other than that, I don't have anything against what he had to say. I don't, because Larry Bird is one of the guys. So I don't have nothing with him saying that. I had to, because I know better now, and I've done hours of watching content and documentaries. I had to correct that. So that's the only thing I had.
Playoff games at the highest level of basketball were being put in the back seat for black and white movies and network reruns. But rather than join the Celtics after being taken 3rd overall, Larry Bird decided to return for his final year at Indiana State, a decision that would prove to be one of the most important in the history of the sport. Bird's final year saw the Sycamores tear through college basketball, going 33-0 before the national championship game. Bird, already claimed by the NBA's most historic and prestigious franchise, had established himself as the generational talent who would inherit the mantle of pro basketball. Indiana State's opponent in the national championship was Michigan State, captained by the immortal Irvin Magic Johnson.
Okay. We getting there.
The Sycamores lost the championship to the more talented Spartans in the highest rated game in the history of basketball at any level still to this day. The stage had been set. The next decade of basketball would be defined by the rivalry between the white hick from French Lick and his Boston Celtics and the black Magic and his Showtime Lakers. The rivalry between Bird and Johnson is entwined into the fabric of the NBA and is worthy of 100 documentaries. In this video, though, we're going to be looking at Bird's claim of supremacy.
Okay. So, yeah, all right. Had to continue to let it go. He did. So, I must admit, he did his thing. Okay. All right. I'm about to say, I was like, hold on. I get very defensive with these two greats. In my eyes, they're greats. Bird and Magic. I have so much respect for these guys. I never knew how much gratitude and appreciation until I start diving into their story. So I'm good now. All right. And everything he's been saying, he's been good. So let's go.
Here's Bird's basketball resume. His 3 championships come with perhaps the highest collective degree of difficulty of any player's championships. His 3 MVPs came consecutively, making him only the 3rd player to accomplish the feat, along with Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. His 2 finals MVPs are misleading. He was absolutely the best player on the '81 Celtics, but he was only a sophomore, and his 15 points per game in the finals gave the media an excuse to exact a little vengeance on a legendarily difficult interview. His All-Star and first-team selections also come with the caveat that Bird only played for 13 seasons and missed all but 6 games of the '89 season following surgeries on both feet.
Facts. You don't really see these type of stats from regular players. This is not the case. 3 championships, 3 regular season MVPs, 2 final MVPs, 12 All-Star selections, and 10 All-NBA teams. I don't know what that one is about, the last one. 10 All-NBA teams. 9 times first team. If y'all can break that one down, I don't know what that one is. But yeah, just keep going.
Of the '89 season following surgeries on both feet. I can hear you already. A 13-year career. And this guy is supposed to be the GOAT? What color of paint are you huffing, Clayton? Green, obviously. But hear me out. Yeah, Bird's career lasted about 2/3 as long as it should have. But what he did in that time was so impressive and so substantial that every basketball fan acknowledges that he's in the conversation as the greatest ever. Doesn't it matter that those 13 years saved professional basketball, delivered a disproportionate amount of memorable moments, defined the golden age of the league, and produced a career by which all other forwards before or since are measured? Bird squeezed every drop of talent out in those 13 years and made it seem more like 30. He didn't just leave his fingerprints on the game. He left so much of his DNA in the sport that it needed a cigarette afterwards. There's something to be said about the candle that lasts half as long but burns twice as bright. Those 3 MVP years stack up with any other run by...
I'm sorry. When I see his highlights, he's just, oh my God. The highlights in here, man. Just keep going.
Get a cigarette afterwards.
Ankle breakers.
There's something to be said about the candle that lasts half as long but burns twice as bright. Those 3 MVP years stack up with any other run by any other player. I will put an A+ Larry Bird season up against anyone's. What does an A+ Larry Bird season look like? A full box score, a blowout win, a nearly undefeated record at home, and a play style that could only be described one way: white. Larry Bird isn't just a white basketball player, he's the white basketball player. To describe Larry Bird's game is to thumb through the Hoops dictionary and pick out every cliche about white players.
Okay, and another one I was going to say is, yeah, but that kind of undo what Bird was trying to do. Even when he had white guards guarding him, and how adamant he was about facing anybody didn't matter. That's why his trash talking was to prolific himself as, hey, it doesn't matter who is guarding me, I'm that guy. So he kind of lost me on that one, because he is that white player, but he transcends beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he transcended beyond that. Now, back in that time, yeah, because it was a big deal race-wise. But as things begin to progress and to transition into more so evolutionize in the game, you see his imprint even beyond that to black players who's been inspired and learn from him. So that's another thing. Yeah, I'm very protective of Bird and Magic. As you can see, very protective. Very protective. So I'm gonna speak my mind a little bit more and speak highly.
That could only be described one way: white. Larry Bird isn't just a white basketball player, he's the white basketball player. To describe Larry Bird's game is to thumb through the Hoops dictionary and pick out every cliche about white players. Unathletic, great shooter, good fundamentals, the whole thing. The archetype of a white basketball player is Larry Bird, with one exception. He had an unparalleled understanding of the game of basketball, both as a physical contest and as a mental competition. His basketball IQ infected everything he did and catapulted his career into legend.
Yeah.
Bird was a complete player. Jerry West called him nearly as perfect as you can get. He was the league's first great marksman. He could contort his body to shoot from anywhere on the court, regardless of the level of defense. He pioneered the art of the dagger 3 and was the founding member of the 50-40-90 club. At 6'9", Bird's understanding of angles and coordination led to a higher rebounding average than Patrick Ewing, and it made him an impressively adept finisher in his younger years. In '86, Bird dropped 47 points on the Blazers, playing the majority of the game left-handed. His lack of quick lateral movement meant that Bird didn't do much when it came to slapping the floor and picking up the opposing point guard, but his size and omniscience gave him the ability to body similarly sized players, read defenses like a free safety, and pick off passing lanes with ease. His passing was transcendent, and I'll highlight it later. And of course you need to know that Larry Bird was a tough effort.
Now, again, everything he's saying, I agree completely wholeheartedly. It was just a few things that because I know better, I had to, number one, make an argument case about some of the things he said. Again, Larry Bird didn't never care about that. He saw him as whoever steps on this court is player against player. I'm the best. And that's what made him such a great. You know what I'm saying? It is what made him such legendary. It what made him such a GOAT. It what made him so good. He was a competitor, right? If reading looking at the documentary, it says it like he grew up young playing with his brothers. And also there were brothers who he was playing with that could not let him play, but they let him play, right? So he never had that mindset of that type of thing. Like it was, I'm better than everybody. That's it. That's what his mindset is, and that's why he transcended. If he only had a mindset of I was the white player, he wouldn't be who he is today. He had to have a mentality that was beyond that, right? So. But anyways, I agree with everything.
He had a superhuman motor and dove for loose balls like a beagle at the park. He was a willing participant in his share of fights, often precipitated by his league-renowned trash talk.
Larry Bird told Robert Reed he'd ought to stay there. He should have stayed in preaching. That was funny. He had 50 points.
I was guarding in my rookie year. He looked at me and he goes, "You can't stop me." And I looked at him and I said, "Gosh, boy, you're so confident." He proceeded to score like 10 straight points on me. The coach took me out the game. He walks by and he's laughing at me.
He was a basketball genius.
Yeah.
He'd be a step ahead, a thought ahead, play the game like a chess game.
I'd much rather guard Michael Jordan than Larry Bird because you have to play the game as a thinker when you're playing him. You have to get inside his mind.
If you put all of us in a room, Magic, Jordan, myself, and Bird probably be the guy who walks out of the room at the end of the day.
Did you notice something during those testimonies? Those are some of the best basketball players of all time, and they all sing Bird's praises like they were former assassins who had to go toe-to-toe with John Wick, and they're just happy to be alive. Bird excelled during one of the most talent-rich periods in league history. The abridged list of his basketball rivals goes like this: Dr. J and Moses Malone on the Philadelphia 76ers, Sidney Moncrief on the Milwaukee Bucks, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer and the Bad Boy Pistons, Dominique Wilkins on the Atlanta Hawks, Bernard King on the New York Knicks, Michael Jordan on the Chicago Bulls, Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson on the Houston Rockets, and of course, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the Los Angeles Lakers. Alright, there's no point avoiding it any longer. We have to look at Magic versus Larry. If you have Magic over Larry, it's because he has 5 rings to Larry's 3, had a peak that lasted about 2 or 3 years longer than Larry's, and had a 2-1 record against Bird's Celtics in the finals. Perfectly legitimate, completely respectable arguments. But in the interest of making Bird's case, allow me to retort. For nearly the entire decade of the 1980s, the Eastern Conference was irrefutably the more competitive conference between the two. Considering the competition, for Bird to have made 5 finals appearances is just as impressive as Magic's 9. As for the head-to-head record responsible for Magic's 2 extra titles, he had more help. Seriously, the Celtics' Big Three and the Lakers' Big Three get compared all the time historically as if they were of equal caliber, but weren't Magic's accomplices just a step above Bird's? No disrespect at all to Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish, but Kareem was the alpha dog on the 71 Bucks and was the best player for at least 2 of the Lakers' 5 titles. James Worthy was the #1 pick out of UNC after winning a championship as the best player on a team that had Michael Jordan on it. Throw in the fact that Magic got to be coached by Pat Riley, one of the most brilliant minds in basketball history, and you could say that the Magic-Bird argument comes down to one thing: luck. So if their careers come down to luck, the question just becomes who you would rather take. Now, I'm not making this video to tell you why you shouldn't take Magic. I'm making this video to tell you why you should take Bird. Not just over Magic, but over everybody. One thing that helps him is the fact that his play would translate perfectly into the league today. A 6'9" sharpshooting forward with eyes in the back of his head who averaged double-digit rebounds in an era against Moses and Laimbeer. He'd gobble up boards as a power forward. He'd be an offensive mismatch against everybody as a small ball center, and his off-ball skills and passing would pair perfectly with the flow of today's game. Add in his competitive mania and 3 generations worth of medical advancements, and we're talking about a player who could have stuck around so long they would have had to rename the league. As you've been watching these clips of Bird, I would hope that you would notice something. He always knows where everybody is. Watching Bird play basketball is like watching those monsters from A Quiet Place that know where you are if you make any noise at all. Bird had a level of clairvoyance that bordered on the unnatural. In '85, he ended up 1 steal away from a quadruple-double after playing just the first 3 quarters. His passing was famously infectious and helped transform the Celtics of the 80s into an ideal that basketball teams at all levels are still shown tape of. They moved the ball with precision and intent, always looking for better shots and determined to get the entire team involved in the effort. That fact is almost entirely attributable to Bird and his wizardry with the ball. This acumen also helped Bird become the only player with a GOAT claim to transition successfully into other basketball roles after his playing career. In his 3 years as the head coach of the Pacers, Bird won a Coach of the Year award, coached the Pacers to their first and only finals appearance, and gave Michael Jordan as much trouble as he'd ever gotten in his career in the '98 Eastern Conference Finals. After moving into a front office role for Indiana, he won Executive of the Year in 2012, becoming the only person to have an MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year award. On the court or off of it, inside and out, Larry
Now, I'm gonna go back a little bit real quick, and then I have something to say.
the Year and Executive of the Year award. On the court or off of it, inside and out, Larry Bird sees basketball as only he can.
Now, everything he said, I completely agree with. You know what I'm saying? Now, going back to what he was talking about, the comparison in him and Magic, he didn't really have as much other than that it was luck. And that's a fair case because it's his case of saying that, hey, this is where I stand at. Bird is the greatest of all time. This is his case. So yes, is going to be in a way of saying this is why I'm saying he is great. But I think that there's a lot of things that you're overlooking, details that can be left out on both scenarios, and it's quite hard to say that because they both, without the other, I don't think they would have been pushed as hard. They had incredible talents. They had incredible Just even focus on Bird. IQ off the charts. To be selfless, creating passes, to scoring assists, all these fundamentals to the trash talk, the physical attribute, him being 6'9", right? All the things he has accomplished, even outside of being a player, but being a coach and so on, right? Those things of all his journey is what made Bird. Even the rivalry with Magic. It's hard to say without the other one, that one can exist. I mean, exist. It's kind of hard to say that. Now, you can have your favorites. I've quickly became in love with both, and I'll be honest with you. I've heard a lot about Bird, but I never really did my due diligence until I started going down even more, hearing stories and stuff. And so I tell you right now, he's in my top 3. He's in my top 3. And that tells you a lot. And so, now, who takes the first? It just changes. I'm gonna be honest with you. It changes. One day it feels like this, another day feels like that. I can't separate, especially now how better I know, and I know I'm rambling, but I'm very passionate, especially with these two. I can't separate them. Even if someone was making the case for Magic, I'll do the same thing for Bird. It's not right. I know too much and know better of how both of them push each other. They were literally yin and yang. They were so similar that it's damn near impossible to separate their rivalries and what they did and their friendship that they built to who was going to be the best. Like, I can't even give Magic the upper hand and say that he was better than Bird. I can't. Because I know better. I know too much. So that's what I had to basically say. Yeah, anyways, just keep going. Hope that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to this guy, he has his own opinions, but my opinions is different, especially how I've been doing countless hours of watching and learning from the stories and being a big fan from both. I can make my argument, right? So yeah.
That intelligence also lent itself to Bird's defining skill, making the big plays. Remember, NBA players get paid to win games. James Harden is getting paid nearly $40 million this year because he's supposed to help the Rockets win games. Victory can be achieved in a lot of ways, and the win column doesn't care how it happens. As Mark Sinclair once said,
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But when your team is down 1 in a crucial playoff game with 8 seconds left, and you need to hit a shot to stay in the series and keep your season alive, that's where players really separate themselves and earn their money. Love it or hate it, it's the players that come through in the big moments that live forever in our memories. Some players, for whatever reason, were never able to do it consistently. Some players were truly outstanding at it. Larry Bird was the best at it.
Baseline throws it up and Larry Bird did it again! He did it again!
Yes, man, this guy's amazing.
He did it again!
I'm not going to give you the stats about his field goal shooting under 2 minutes with a score that's this close, or tell you who has the most buzzer beaters, or any of that.
Take that for data.
I'm just going to show you clutch moments in clutch situations. 1985 against the Blazers. Bird drops 48 points, including this. Down 1 with 2 seconds left.
Inbound pass, the double team in Bird. Larry, fake, fall away.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
1985
Legend.
against the Hawks. Bird sets
Against
the
the
Celtics
Hawks.
scoring record with 60 points with shots like these.
They open the right side. Bird the fall away. He drills.
Now with this story right here, his player, teammate, he was like, I think he was one to score 60, right? And the teammate didn't want to go for it. He was like, and he said, all right, bet. All right, next game, whenever we go against the Hawks, I'm gonna score 60, and I'm gonna overcast yours. He was so competitive that he even was competitive than he was more competitive towards his teammates. He was like, all right, if you ain't going to get the 60, I'm going to get the 60. And he got it right there going against Atlanta Hawks, which you had Spud Webb. You have some amazing talents on there, on Atlanta Hawks. And he was just going, man. So unbelievable God, man, when you see this guy do his thing.
Again, that's the best shooting I've ever seen.
1986 against the Rockets. Not all of Bird's clutch moments were singular. The bigger the moment, the bigger his performance. In Game 6 of the 1986 NBA Finals, Bird clinches the championship with a triple-double in what he calls the best game he ever played.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Bird wants a three out of it. He gets it.
I love
1987 against the Washington Bullets. Bird hits one shot to tie it before it's waved off because of a timeout. Hits another shot to tie it up for real.
Crowd is standing up. It goes now to Bird. Bird goes up top.
Yeah.
And then in double overtime, down one, he does this.
It's going to go to Bird. He's got a shot. Get it! And it's got it. It's a 3-point field goal. And that's that.
Crazy, bro.
For 3 years, from 1986 to 1988, the three-point contest knew no other champion but Larry Bird.
Look at the
He's
shots.
still got to drop one here quickly. 14. This is a tie.
Here we go.
Money.
For the money. With the jacket
1987
on.
Eastern Conference Finals, Game 5. Tied at 2 games apiece against the Bad Boy Pistons, this enormous game would put the winner 1 game away from the NBA Finals. The Pistons are up 1 with seconds remaining. The ball goes out of bounds off the Celtics. Isaiah Thomas just needs to inbound the ball to win the game.
Now there's a steal by Bird.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass.
There are truly too many big games and big moments for me to go through without this ending up as a documentary. But that all leads me to this, what I really want to talk about. 1987, NBA Finals, Game 4 against the Lakers. LA is up 2-1, and the Celtics need to win to tie the series and stay alive. Bird hits a 3 with 12 seconds left to go up by 2.
Bird goes for 3.
Oh, yeah.
Kareem comes down and gets fouled with 8 seconds left. He makes the first, but misses the second. LA ends up with the ball with 7 seconds left, down 1 point.
I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
Byron Scott is in the ball game now.
Magic hits this, the baby skyhook.
Magic with a hook shot. Scores with 2.
2 seconds left. Down 1.
Dennis Johnson on the inbound.
This is crazy.
Fires it.
Here we go.
What do you think happens? I bet it wasn't that. When I paused the tape and the ball was hanging in the air, you thought it was going in. Bird thought it was going in. Magic thought it was going in.
It looked like it was going in.
I've seen this game before, and I still think it's going to go in. But it didn't. Pat Riley said it himself. We got lucky. And that, a missed shot in the NBA Finals, is why he's the clutchest. Because after he makes the big plays, has the big games, hits the big shots, time and time again, you expect him to hit every shot, to win every game. And in those fleeting moments when he doesn't, when he looks like a mere human, when he looks like everyone else who tries to do what he does, you just can't believe it. That's what Larry Bird did. He made the big plays so often, you thought he was going to make them every time.
I love this stare.
He helped turn basketball into a global phenomenon, paving the way for every Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or LeBron James who comes through our lives. He played basketball in its purest form and captained a team that is consistently ranked among the greatest of all time. He has the second highest win percentage in the history of the NBA, behind Magic by less than 0.5%, about 10 games. He was the complete package, a player with no holes in his game whatsoever. They called him Basketball Jesus. He didn't get that name without doing something extraordinary. He saved basketball, and he did it by playing it better than anyone else. Here's Magic at Bird's retirement in 1993.
Larry Bird said that there would be another Larry Bird one day. And Larry, there will never, ever, ever be another Larry Bird. To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
Wow. Dang. All right, so to basically sum it up, what I thought about it, I think this was an amazing tribute to Larry Bird, and I think it was a great way to a case of saying that he is one of the GOAT. He is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? In your eyes, that's how you feel. I always believe that he's up there and he is one. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all about it. How can I say it? I am arguing for the case of Larry Bird being the GOAT. Right? I am. But how can I say this? How can I say it? I just think that he transcend him and Magic. After knowing so much, I think they're literally legends gods, like legend god status. Like they're legend status, like beyond GOAT. Beyond GOAT. Because I don't think it would even be a conversation about it without these guys even creating. I think if their story didn't come about, it would have took NBA even longer to get to where it got to, if that makes sense. It would, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would have took even longer. So, like, but I'm out. D. This kind of messed my head up. I'm just like, all right, well, hey, I don't have nothing to argue against it. I really don't. I guess to make it short, I have nothing to argue against that. It is what it is. I'm perfectly fine. I think there's two things that I had problems with. I think was the white player thing, because I know how adamant Bird was about that. I mean, the guy was 6'9". He was a huge guy. You know what I'm saying? He can make his way with athletes playing the way he played. He was unbelievable. So it's not like, he couldn't. I just think that he just transcend, like, beyond what box you put him in, beyond whatever the case might be. And then the other one was with him and Magic. I don't know why a lot of people want to separate them so much. Even them, they said themselves, they didn't want to be compared, but it just happened to be that way. Like, no matter how much Magic was trying to keep away from not being compared to this guy, he couldn't run away from it. It was just, that's how Destiny wrote its course. And another thing is, where would Magic be and where would Larry be if both Magic didn't have the HIV and Bird didn't have the back injury? You see what I'm saying? Like, they both would have been getting championships. It honestly, at this point, they would have had so many championships, both, that Mike probably wouldn't even have the conversation about the rings and being the GOAT, because they would probably had gotten way more championship rings. So, yeah, that's it. Anyways, what you guys think in the comment section? I'm all for it. I believe if you believe that Bird is the GOAT, then he's the GOAT. If you believe Magic's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. If you believe Michael's the GOAT, he's the GOAT. I told y'all when I first started this journey, my favorite player of all time is Kobe, because he's impacted my mindset, my life, as far as like being inspired as a young athlete. It's Kobe. So Kobe's like my hero. But I soon became a big fan and a novice to Magic, Bird, and their story, and who they have shown the way to other young athletes that came after them, even including Michael Jordan. So, yeah, this is a deep dive. It's a very deep dive, and I've seen people sometimes have their opinions about you know, and it's a sport. It's a sport. It's competitive. So you're gonna feel how you feel, and you're gonna die on the hill that you feel that you want to die on the hill about who's the greatest of all time. Me, I don't really too much care. If he's your greatest of all time, he's your greatest of all time. But one thing I cannot do is, because I know better, is you can't separate them two. No matter how much you want to, you can't separate them. You can call Larry the greatest, but you can't separate him from his brother, his yin yang twin, Magic. And that's just it. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, you can call him the GOAT if you want to. Yeah. Anyways, man, I don't know. I get passionate. It's crazy. I find myself can sit here and have a whole conversation for a long time, and I still haven't end the video because I just like talking about Bird and Magic. I see the game way different. They changed my whole perspective in life about basketball, and so I have a forever gratitude and loyalty to these two guys, and I will literally defend and come back any conversation about these guys don't belong in there, because they do. And I am saying it, Larry Bird is that guy. He is that guy. I said when I first seen him, he's that guy. I knew it off the bat. I was like, I was wrong. I should have dived into his arc, and that's what we did. So thank y'all for the amazing support. Y'all show up strong. Y'all shown that what a great community can do, and that we all can have our differences about who we see great in our eyes and stuff like that. But it's all about being educated. It's about going into history and learning these players and what they did to change the game. And yeah, man, thankful for it. See y'all in the next one. Peace.